Hi, I'm Jessie Wren Marshall. I am a writer and reader of fiction, and I'm going to talk to you today about Kate Brody's Rabbit Hole. Whoa, there it is, Rabbit Hole.
Lit FIC DISH.
Books from the future.
Rabbit Hole comes out January 2nd, 2024.
10 years ago, Teddy's 18-year-old sister Angie went missing. On the anniversary of that disappearance, Teddy's father, who is Angie's stepfather, commits suicide. That is the inciting incident that sets the plot in motion. Teddy is a high school English teacher. She's got a beloved cancer-ridden dog that was a birthday present for her missing sister. And Teddy's mother is also at home trying to deal with the suicide and with Teddy. Teddy gets involved in the cold case that her dad was researching before he died. She finds some leads, some clues, and she meets Mickey, who's a wayward girl who becomes like a surrogate sister, but she's somehow mixed up in the case with Teddy's dad. And there's Bill, who's this hot sex guy who maybe is also involved with her dad and used to be employed by him. What happened to Angie? What is the mystery? That is the driving force of the plot. But to me, this was not the most compelling part of the book. It is a complex look at grief and the way that it changes over time and the way that trauma compounds and filters into other parts of our lives. Teddy is a really compelling character, snarky and cynical in a way that I really enjoyed. Even though the book starts off with a lot of traumatic events, time bombs that are going to go off at some point, it didn't feel like it was waterlogged with trauma because Teddy is such a great narrator to go along with. There were a lot of lines in this book that made me go, you know? Pointing accurately to where the source of pain is. Also saying it in a beautiful new way that seems very honest and perceptive. That's all down to Kate Brody. I think she is a really great writer, and this is a debut novel, so it's really cool to see what she's going to come up with next. I think it's interesting that this book was really marketed as a thriller, and I think that's because it's trying to straddle the line between literary fiction and commercial fiction, and it wants to appeal to readers who perhaps like The Woman in the Window, Girl on a Train, ladies looking at things, doing things with their stuff. This book is not that. And I think if you go into it expecting that kind of plotty, twisty, stuff happens, I think you will be potentially disappointed. Personally, I really love it when books cross over between literary fiction and other genres, and I think Brody does it really well. I just think that the marketing should emphasize the literary fiction kind of element and not so much the plottiness. 2 cents. Let me read the beginning to you and you can decide for yourself. Page 1. 10 years to the day after my sister's disappearance, my father kills himself. It's a sleepy Friday night like any other when he drives his car through the rotting barn wall of the most beautiful bridge in town and plunges himself into the shallow waters below. The same shallow waters where divers in seal suits panned for Angie's remains when all of our better leads ran cold. He doesn't vanish like she did. He isn't swept away with the current. His car isn't even fully submerged. He lands in the rocks, bumper sticking out from the water like a bad joke. I stand with my mother in police overcoats at the edge of the road as the state authorities dredge the car from the riverbank with their big tow trucks. The local cops tape off the entrance to the bridge, which looks like it was hit with a wrecking ball. The sheriff they sent up from Portland tells us there are only 9 covered bridges left in the state, 8 now if they can't restore this one. It's the first thing he says. Only after Mom apologizes, only after she assures him that her husband must have been trying to veer off the road sooner, must have been trying to miss the bridge entirely and cut across the steep patch of nothing between the start of the bridge and the end of the guardrail, only after she insists that he must have simply been going too fast, turned a second too late, wound up on the bridge. Only then does the sheriff volunteer that my dad was killed on impact. He didn't drown. Small mercies. So Brody isn't afraid to make her protagonist suffer, and it is really interesting to see Teddy spiral as she becomes more obsessed with the case and develops these unhealthy relationships and becomes a very toxic teacher, which as a former English teacher myself, I enjoyed. in the end, it's this attention to the specific experiences of grief and the unknowability of the people that we love that makes this book a page turner. Not the plot, but the writing. Oh, and if you're interested in this book, please pre-order today because pre-orders really help authors. Thanks for watching.
LIT FIC DISH.